Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grow With Us. My name is Evan Barton, and I'm your host who helps create conversations with the innovators and leaders of a growing tech center in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The Grow With Us podcast highlights the work of community leaders, tech entrepreneurs, nonprofit professionals, and talent development advocates in Tulsa. Grow With Us is a podcast of In Tulsa, and Tulsa's mission is to connect talented individuals and companies to stimulate economic growth in Tulsa and to create more prosperous communities across the region. Each episode, Grow With Us discusses the growth of opportunities, the growth of communities striving for change, or the tech and innovation that is changing the landscape of Tulsa. On this episode of Grow With Us, we are in conversation with Gina Noble, professor and interim director at the College of Professional Studies at OSU-Tulsa, and Katie Burgess, the coordinator for the College of Professional Studies. We discussed the 3-degree paths within the College of Professional Studies at OSU-Tulsa, the importance of organizational leadership in the workplace, and the workshops provided for the community and business leaders. Thank you so much for being on this episode of Grow With Us, Gina and Katie. I'm so excited to talk about everything that we have recently discussed in getting to know each other, and then talking about OSU-Tulsa and all things. So thank you so much for being here. It's so great to have you both.
Thanks for having us.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, this is going to be a great conversation. I had the pleasure of getting coffee with you just about a week ago and learning a little bit about what you both do in your respective works. And I'm really excited for you to share that with our audience. So how about we just go ahead and jump in with a little introduction from both of you, just telling me your story and telling us your story in whatever way you feel comfortable.
Okay. Do you want to go ahead? Me? Okay. So my name is Katie Burgess. I am the coordinator for the College of Professional Studies at OSU-Tulsa. I have been in this position since July 31st, so a little over 90 days. But I love it so far. I used to be a 10th grade high school teacher in McAlester, Oklahoma. And so jumping from K through 12 to higher ed is something that I was excited for. I was ready for a change, and I think this is a really good fit for me and what I want to accomplish in the future. So
I love that. That's awesome. And you, Gina?
I am Gina Noble, and I am the interim director of the College of Professional Studies. I moved here last March to begin this new journey. This is a brand new college, the only college at OSU-Tulsa. And before I did this, I still am. I'm a professor for the School of Media and Strategic Communications in Stillwater. So I teach for them still.
Nice.
And I was there for 22 years and served Stillwater in a public servant capacity as well. So I have a background that values education. And that's why I'm here, because this College of Professional Studies is a whole new way to deal with and improve education.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's awesome. We have two kind of new Tulsans. I remember noting that about our conversation was like, you both have come here with kind of like, I think a little bit of a legacy in the work you're stepping into, but like with a completely different direction that I'm really excited to kind of highlight and touch upon in your work. So thank you both for being here. I'm really excited.
I'm excited for this too. I didn't think that I would like Tulsa as much as I do. I've never lived in like a big city per se. So it was definitely a change, but it's a good change. So
I'm so glad.
It's a great change. Mm-hmm. I'm thrilled to be here.
Yeah.
And Stillwater was great, but Tulsa's great too.
There we go. We love to hear that. I think just to jump into kind of the Tulsa specific part of it, like what were your earlier conceptions of it, and kind of you've been here for a little bit less than a year at this point. You know, what has your relationship been with the city and how has it changed?
I definitely have experienced lots of growth personally. Like I said, I've never lived in a big city, so I was a little bit fearful just of like those cliche things like, oh, there's going to be lots of traffic and blah, blah, blah. And there is, but it really isn't as bad as I thought it would be. The city itself and the things that it offers, I mean, there's just so much to do. There's something going on all the time. There's so many places to eat, which is so great.
Yes.
And then with my professional life, I don't know. I feel like OSU-Tulsa has just already opened so many doors for me, and I have so many opportunities that I can, grab and go. Like I can just run with them. So it's been really good for me personally and professionally.
That's awesome.
Yes. So everything she said about the restaurants and the coffee shops and there's just so much more choice here for me. So
Yeah.
I love that. Traffic's not nearly as bad as I thought it would be. What I love is working in the Greenwood district. So
Yeah.
OSU-Tulsa is right down there. So I'm right downtown, and
Yeah.
it's easy to even walk downtown to go to lunch or something like that. So it's just all of the opportunities that are here with all of these really hardworking, open-minded, progressive Tulsans
Yeah.
that want to make Tulsa better. That's so inspiring.
Yeah.
And it makes me want to be better.
Mhm.
And it makes me want to make OSU-Tulsa's College of Professional Studies better. So there's just a lot of people to connect with that can help us both grow. And I appreciate it.
Yeah. Growing with us, if you will.
Exactly.
Why didn't I think of that?
I mean, what can I say? It's
I set you up.
No, I love hearing that. I think something that this podcast just over time has kind of built this kind of internal story about is just everyone has such a different experience with Tulsa, because we kind of use this question as like a framing of like the how has the backdrop of Tulsa impacted the way you live professionally, personally, or, created community. And I think that everyone has taken that, opportunity differently, something from their past or where the experiences they're drawing from kind of allow them or create an opportunity for them to explore the city in a different way than their previous experience, or, kind of translate what they had to Tulsa and it looking different because it's the Tulsa like flair on it, which is so cool. I think for you, Katie, I bet there's even an interesting element of like raising a child here. Like I know that we've had that sentiment talked about a lot on the podcast, but I know that is a huge part of kind of like, either starting out in your career or just starting out in your family life, and those kind of things all happening in a new place is, I bet, pretty interesting.
It is interesting, and I'm excited for her. So I have a almost 2.5-year-old, and she is just everything to me. And it is. I was a little nervous, like I said before. Tulsa is a bigger place that I've ever experienced, and so. But like I said, there's just so many things to do. And like for Halloween, we went to the aquarium, and and there's just things that she can learn from everywhere. And I love watching her learn and grow as a 2-year-old. So I think we maybe talked about this last week. Tulsa is a bigger place, but there's so many things that give it that like small town feel.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I think this is the place to be right now for sure. Like no matter who you are, no matter what industry or phase of life, like you need to be in Tulsa.
Yeah. We love that. And I wholeheartedly agree. Let's jump into your work specifically. I'd love to kind of hear, what the College of Professional Studies is and kind of how it has started. I know you already mentioned, Gina, like it being in the historic Greenwood is like a very important element of kind of the work that's being done there. But I'd love for you to kind of talk about the college and your experience with it.
Sure. So the state of Oklahoma and a bunch of people that run the state are really focused on workforce development and preparing young people for skills that are going to help them whether they go to college or not. Of course, we want everybody to go to college. Education's important. It opens new doors.
Absolutely.
So the College of Professional Studies was started, really, it just got off the ground in 2023. We're just brand new.
Yeah.
But there was a lot, it took a couple of years to plan and develop. And we looked at different degrees, not we, as in me, because I wasn't even here, but the predecessor, the president of OSU-Tulsa, a few years ago before she retired, Pam Fry, started the College of Professional Studies. She at least created it.
Yeah.
And what they did is they worked with workforce development people at the state level and decided that we needed 3 degrees that really would help workforce development, what was hot in the workforce development, but more importantly, what we need, what jobs really need more people. And so organizational leadership is one of our degrees. And it is for anybody that is going to work later. Organizational leadership can be anything.
Yeah.
And you can start when you're 18 years old doing it, or you can start your degree when you've already been working for a while. Because as we know, a lot of people, in fact, 166 plus thousand people in the Green Country area
Mm-hmm.
started a degree, but never crossed the finish line.
Wow.
And, life gets in the way. We've all been there.
Yeah.
And we were started for them, for
awesome.
workforce development for them, because we believe just because you started and didn't finish anything years ago doesn't mean you can't come back and finish it now. And organizational leadership is just a great way to, I don't care if you started with a forestry degree or a psychology degree or an art degree, no matter what your passion was back then, as we all know, your passions change.
Yeah, absolutely.
And once you're in the business side of things, leadership development, organizational leadership just really kind of gels with everything.
Yeah.
So that's a first degree. It's a bachelor's degree. The thing that we do differently is our classes are all online. They're 8 weeks long. And we tailored it toward working adult professionals who may have to go home after a job and they have to take care of family, of children, of dogs, of business.
Yeah.
And they can still log in later and be able to finish their degree that way. If they really, really want to take a class in person, we make sure that happens as well.
Mm-hmm.
We also have public safety. We work with Tulsa Police Department, and I believe we're working with Broken Arrow prior. Tulsa's police are the only ones in the state, as of right now that I know of, that are required to have a bachelor's degree. So coming to us to get a public safety degree is a great way to do it. And we work with them on internships where they go through the police academy and things like that. So it's very, very different.
Yeah.
And then we have healthcare administration. And as we all know, after we've all been through COVID
Absolutely.
and lived through it, and we know how important healthcare professionals are
Yeah.
and how much they're needed. So that's a big thing as well. And those are all bachelor's degrees. But here's the thing that sells it. We have credit for prior learning. So what you did before, we can transfer some of that over and try to get you finished in a timely manner.
Yeah.
And our advisors, academic advisors, are just wonderful about helping with that. So credit for prior learning is a big deal. So our 3 degrees are workforce development degrees.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much. I think that was an amazing overview. And I think what I really want to highlight about the work that you guys are doing is that there is an intense passion and kind of direction around accessibility, like with offering online classes, with offering 8-week stints of these courses. I think that we ended up talking a lot about this in our conversation last week, like about how the reason that there's 177,000 folks that have started and not necessarily finished is because, like you said, life gets in the way, and life can get in the way in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
I think that as we start to navigate this world, and also like how the world has kind of unfolded in the last couple of decades or so, it's been really hard and unpredictable how things are going to affect you or your own situation. And I think folks in Oklahoma are, I think, still coming around to what that type of accessibility looks like, if that makes any sense. Like, oh, there's someone out there to help me do this.
Mm-hmm.
I think Oklahomans and I'll even say Tulsans specifically are still opening their eyes to kind of like what's out there to put me in a different place than where I'm at. I've only known this. I've only had the opportunity to be exposed to this. And there's people like you guys and people like a lot of the amazing folks I've had on this podcast that are like standing up and saying, we want to help you into your next thing. And so I'm really excited to amplify this message, because I know that it's something that is really important to me. Education matters. And, across all 3 of your degree programs, I think that there's something for anyone that might be interested in all of
There
those
is.
things.
There is. We can help you pivot, and we can help you achieve the dream that you wanted to when you started it, and let us help you finish it.
Absolutely. And I think we'll dive in specifically to like organizational leadership, because I think that's I like the way you described it earlier, kind of about how it can be something you jump right into, or it can be something that after a couple of years of working, just kind of fits and gels with everything, because I think that's right on. And we also I'm going to maybe jump into a little bit of a tangent, but I think that it's something that I've noticed in kind of the workplace as a young person, and other folks in my kind of same age range have like commented on as well. I think that our perspectives as early career folks are oftentimes like more valued than we think. And I think that comes specifically from kind of this like business attitude that, you're a young person with a new, fresh idea, and we want you to have the opportunity to do that. I would say maybe the execution of that could potentially dissuade some people, or they don't see that leadership within themselves because they haven't had the skills to build yet. Mm-hmm. And I think that might be a great kind of jumping in point for you, Katie, to kind of talk about like what organizational leadership is and kind of how necessary it is for early career development.
Yeah, organizational leadership, it's something that I've grown to, like in this position, I've learned that it is really crucial. I mean, those early career development skills and those soft skills is something that I feel like maybe not has necessarily been put on the back burner, but because of recent events with the pandemic and stuff, it's things that people don't realize like they're so important. And so I think with younger generations, organizational leadership could be really great for them especially if they started something and maybe COVID got in the way, or, just other parts, other things in life that, I have a bachelor's degree, I want a master's degree, and I haven't started it yet because life gets in the way,
Yeah.
And so it just happens with everybody. And so I think this degree, especially if they want to move up to, sometimes, they're in a position. I know that Gina, when I was hired, she gave me the example of, a lineman could have been like, they're out there in the field, like they do stuff all the time, and maybe there's someone who wants to move up and be a manager, but they don't have those credentials. This is where organizational leadership comes into play, and it just, we can use what they already know and the education that they've already received to doing what they've done for years and turn that into credits for their degree. And so do you want to speak on like early career development? Some of the things that you've done. Gina just did a really great class or a course on active listening. And it's things like that people don't realize are so important and can make the difference in how you move up in a company.
Absolutely.
It is. Being promotable is really important, and I hope it's important to everybody your age as well, both of your ages, because, there are some skills that college cannot teach, and those are soft skills that, as I talk to a lot of businesses, and I talk to a lot of their HR people, see what they need their people to be trained in. Yeah. And everybody says, well, we need soft skills. So I just did an active listening course and how to have influence skills as an early career professional from 1 to 5 years. So now we're offering that online. I did it for the Williams Company, and now we're turning that into an online class that anybody can access through our website. It'll be there sometime in December.
Hopefully. We're working on it.
I've been there, I know. It'll be there.
It will be there at some point.
So there's just so many skills that you need when you first start a career that you don't necessarily have. Writing skills. A lot of the engineering firms or people who hire engineers want us to teach engineering communication and teach engineers who are so very, very smart. Yeah. But maybe didn't get the communication skills or know how to put a proposal together, or, some people don't even know how to write a professional email. Yeah. And so there's just all kinds of things like that, skills that you need.
Something we've heard about a lot is having tough conversations with people, because if someone wants to move up to a manager position or some type of leader, they might not have those skills to have a difficult conversation, with one of their employees. Yes. So.
And that's one of the management classes that we are going to have, because we're working with manufacturers and businesses right now. And that is one of the manufacturing things, having the tough conversations. But just teaching managers how to be a manager. You have to start somewhere.
Absolutely.
And then you have to have the management skills. So it's just really what we do is we listen to the businesses. We ask them what they need, and then we create what they need. And I find the perfect person to teach what they need, and we deliver it how they need. So it's all of those things. Sometimes they only need a lunch and learn or only want. Sometimes it's only online. Sometimes it's, no, we want you at our place.
Yeah.
So it's all these soft skills can be taught so many different ways, but it's Katie's job and my job to figure out how to deliver those. And that's what we're doing.
I think you're doing amazing. I love that. I think let's talk a little bit deeper on soft skills, because I think it's something that has like an understanding in the business world, but I don't think I ever heard of a soft skill until I was like
me either.
looking for a job or whatever, or someone said that you might need to highlight your softer skills versus your like harder technical skills. And, you know, I think even just like the framing of like hard and soft like might be confusing, but for me, my definition of it that matters to me and I kind of carry forward with me is it's kind of the skills that allow you to do the work with other people, regardless of like, I doing the work with other people, talking to people, like you said, writing those emails, having tough conversations, interpersonal skills that, you know, you really only get from how do I own my own work and own the delivery of that work or that product or that in my services or whatever to someone else so that they understand it, they can take it and do something with it. It kind of is like, that's really how fundamental it feels like soft skills are to the workplace, because it's how we communicate in a workplace environment. And
you described that perfectly. It's interpersonal skills, and it's skills that
they have to be practiced. You know, we can teach, like she can teach about active listening, but if someone wants to, you know, they're going to have to practice active listening if they want to grow in that area.
Watch this podcast. This is teaching active listening. We're all doing it right now.
And I'm going to give everybody an example. And I think that when I was teaching this class, I was teaching it online. So, and as a professor, I had to go through COVID and I, you know, learned to teach online.
Absolutely.
So how many people that are listening right now, when you have business meetings, and they're either on Zoom or Teams or something like that, and you click on your button, and then you might wave hi to everybody, and then you click off that video, right? So as the person delivering, I don't know if you're really listening to me. You're certainly not active listening to me, because active listening is looking at body language, and it's listening to everything in a different way, tone of voice and the body language and the delivery of the message. So that's one thing that I told that in this active listening class, I tell them, keep your video on, keep your distractions minimal, and make sure you can paraphrase at the end of that meeting exactly what they said to you, because that's promotable. Those are the skills that bosses notice. How can a boss notice you if they can't see you on video?
Can't even see your face. Yeah, absolutely.
So just pay attention. You know, those, you know, show up. 90% is show up, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that's a good reminder for people, because I don't know, I feel like maybe, I don't want to say younger generations, because I feel like every generation has had, you know, a problem with active listening in one way, shape, or form. And it's things that shouldn't be taught, but it's just a good reminder for them. And it's just that professional development, you know.
And I've been guilty of turning off my video.
I think everyone has.
Everyone has. But I want people to think who want to be promoted about the impression that you're giving, because that's a soft skill.
And the places that you show up in that way, I think, are different. But, you know, an informational session where there's 150 people in the room and that person's going to deliver a presentation, whether you're there or not, you know, maybe it's okay to have the video off, because it might not necessarily be an opportunity where you're looked at for that in that way. But in that, you know, 20-person all staff meeting where you're everyone else is on camera, and you know, you're not on camera because you're never on camera, and that becomes something you do every single time you're on those 20-person meetings. That is how that shows up. And I think specifically the point that I would kind of give a little bit of grace to those folks out there is we're all navigating what the transition to online was looking like. And so I think that where we have come through that whole journey, which was, you know, everyone was used to in person. That was the only way we were interacting for the most part in educational settings or in full on like virtual and remote work. That change, it was a wild wasteland on the World Wide Web.
I like that, like www.
Literally, I don't know how but it really was, because I remember my first semester, the only term I had online was like my last term. And we were seeing kids at their homes, in their parents' houses, on Zoom, and barely woken up. And I'm guilty of it as well.
Yeah.
And that was acceptable because we didn't know.
Right.
We didn't know we didn't know how to raise the standard, and there wasn't a standard. We were giving everyone grace through what was going on at the time. I think where we're at now, and a lot of what you're responding to, the employers coming to you and asking you about, is we're seeing that these habits haven't necessarily been broken from those like earlier on days of not knowing necessarily. I don't want to say not knowing how to conduct yourself, but not knowing the best way to show up to work, or what employers expect from the people they hire to show how they show up to work. And so I think that's kind of where you're meeting them.
That's exactly it. It's about thinking about what your employer wants, because if you are in this to win this and to get the promotion and to be a leader someday, you have to perform in a certain way. And it's just about respect, you know, when you're turning on the video camera. I think now it is. Yeah. You're absolutely right. I saw students in pajamas and things I really shouldn't have seen. But we know better now. We know that we shouldn't have our cat walking across and our dog barking and all of that. There's just things we can do now.
You're on mute. I have to. You're on mute. The Beyonce look around, everybody on mute.
You know, it's just, and that's a practiced skill. You have to really think about it. It's planning before you do stuff like that.
And it's hard online to do that, but also active listening can be practiced when you're in an in-person meeting.
Absolutely.
We've all been in a meeting where someone in the back is typing on their computer. They're not active listening. They're worried about something else. And so, it definitely goes for remote work or in-person work.
The degrees of that have changed so much. You know, someone in the back of the class online shopping versus like the student in the front row raising their hand. Like those are two. That's a very active listening example I think we all know. And then now with COVID, it's like literally the person mute, no video, barely on the call, but like, are they really there?
They're on there for the credit, and that's it, you know? So, it's things like that. It's learning how to treat your coworkers. That's another soft skill that, in a time, you know, right after COVID, and when you're just learning, if you're just in college or high school then, and you're not really learning the importance of building other people up. And I think that's an important skill, especially we all work on teams.
Yeah.
And being able to, one of the things that I like to say is to build other people up more than you build yourself up.
Yeah.
And if you can not build yourself up at all and you just build up other people, that is probably seen by your managers and by your bosses as a better skill than almost anything. It's a critical thinking skill, and it's a grace thing, and it's building other people up. So it's all of those things.
Yeah, I think the heart that it gets to for me is like, is there something that you do as consistent as work that you can take pride in, and teaching people how to do that, or teaching people the skills that might help them find that for themselves faster, or even differently than they might have seen themselves in originally. I think that's the transformative process of like education, and also like the opportunity to grow and the opportunities to fail, but then get right back up and try again. I think that's the environment that I like about education. And I think you're in such an interesting place kind of with talking with companies too. I think in the workplace, we don't necessarily think about them as places to fail or places where people want to fail. And I think that emboldening yourself with skills and building up those things that you will always have is really going to just carry that confidence forward. And so I love the work that you guys do, and I'd love for you to kind of share ways that people can get involved. What are some things? What are some programming things that you all do? How can people learn about you guys more?
Yeah, so with the College of Professional Studies, we have our degrees, but we're also offering workshops. We already have had a workshop previously covering AI in the workplace, which is really interesting because it's something that not everybody sees as essential, or they don't want to learn about it because it is kind of a scary topic.
It's this big thing we don't know. Yeah,
but there's so many things that can be so helpful to the workplace. It's not going to take your job, but people who know how to use artificial intelligence could definitely get the job before you.
Yeah.
And so knowing how to use it, our instructor for that is very knowledgeable, and she knows all the resources for AI. I mean, it is really cool. It's a really cool topic. And so we've had a workshop about that anybody can join, anybody can sign up for. We definitely target with our marketing, we target, HR professionals because, those what's the word I'm looking for? Like leadership and talent managers at companies or whatever, they're going to be the ones to get the word out to the employees. But we definitely target leaders in companies, executives, or just anyone interested in the topic.
Yeah. For artificial intelligence, anyone that needs a personal assistant.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And who doesn't need that?
Right.
So, and that's one of the things that she teaches and we do.
And we'll have other workshops like that coming up in spring 2024. We definitely have workshops, more so for HR professionals, tips to increase applicant pools, because it's hard these days to find somebody, those talented people that you need for your company and how to market those positions where they know about them. So we have someone who specializes in that who's coming in. There will be one in December, and it's one of our more popular ones, coaching and motivating employees. So this is definitely going to be for managers and leaders in companies who just may need a little guidance on, how to get that culture where they want it to be in their workplace, and getting people, all on the same page with those soft skills, and, getting to be not a boss, but a leader in their company. I don't know if I like the word boss, because this instructor, he definitely has the viewpoint of not bossing people around, but leading them, so it's, I think that one will be really great, and that'll be December 1st. And like I said, anyone can sign up for it. So, and we also offer, we try to make it, where we have group discounts and stuff. So if companies want to send multiple people, they'll get a discount on that. And so, just meeting companies where they are, meeting businesses where they are, people where they are. And all these topics that we've come up with are topics that we've learned from these professionals, things that they need and they want. We're not just thinking of them off the top of our head, this might be a good one. These are things that we've been told, like, hey, we need this, or hey, this is an issue. So.
Yeah. What I love about that specifically, and this is actually something that's come up on another episode that I'm actually really passionate about. I find it really interesting and cool for there to be people doing work out there that acknowledge that businesses and the people that work at businesses are not perfect. I think for a long time, there has been this kind of dynamic, and this is maybe a lot of my personal opinions coming out, and I'm just curious if you agree.
We love opinions.
But specifically, I guess what I mean is like I said, like people and the businesses that work at them are not perfect, and they all have room to grow. Mm-hmm. And so how can you acknowledge kind of this business perspective? Now I'm in the fold, I'm in the business world, and I understand this, or I have this position, which means I'm supposed to understand this. I still think there's room to grow in all of those positions. No job that I've ever been in, and I understand I've only been in a few of them. Well, about more than 10 at this point. But, I've always had something I've been aspiring towards. Mm-hmm. I've always had, more responsibility or more leadership or helping other people do their job better. And I think that the corporate world kind of gets maybe painted out, or at least my view of it sometimes is that once you reach a certain position, you just have to do that job, and that's it. And you can do that job for however long you want. And I think that that's I don't know how the workplace has changed, but that's just not how I see the workplace. And I really do find it cool that there are organizations out there like yourselves that are kind of challenging businesses to be better for their people.
Right.
And I wholeheartedly believe that is, I think, the future of work, companies investing in their people and companies taking that initiative to know I'm seeing this skill deficiency in my workforce, or at least even in the applications of people that want to work here. They might have some of the hard skills to work here, but not necessarily the soft skills. How can I meet them where they're at? I know that's the word of the day or the phrase of the day, but it's so important because for so long we weren't being met where we were at.
Right. Yeah. And we both believe in lifelong learning.
Absolutely.
Like no matter.
She just took my word.
I'm sorry.
I know, I saw Gina already.
We've talked about that so much though, and just how important that is to be a lifelong learner, no matter if you're at the bottom or at the very, very top.
Yeah.
I mean, you should always be working to be better and just checking in occasionally with yourself and attending these workshops that we have that, and just staying up to date with relevant information, especially in the times that we live in. I feel like things are changing all the time and there's new ideas and new things like AI and things like that.
Yeah.
And, how to address these things in companies and with new generations coming up in these companies, so it is just so important.
Yeah.
And leaders of all ages, especially leaders my age compared to leaders your age. Leadership is about setting the example and showing how other people how to do their job better. It's about achieving company goals, of course, but showing other people how to be able to do that. So that's where lifelong learning. It's just everything changes, and we can no longer just think, I have this degree, I have this job, and so I don't have to change. And I think a lot of us have probably encountered people like that at whatever job that we've been at, and it's not a fun thing. It's fun to grow together. So
absolutely,
workforce development.
I love that, and I think you're spot on. I think that you guys did validate my personal opinion, which I appreciate. But kind of wrapping this discussion up, it's been so great, Katie and Gina. Thank you so much for being here. I really want to just provide the floor back to you guys with anything that's coming up that you want to highlight. I know you mentioned some workshops are coming up in 2024. Is going to be a great year for you guys. How can anyone listening to this find you guys or get connected? Yeah,
the easiest way to find information about the College of Professional Studies is going to professionalstudies.okstate.edu. On our website, we'll have just what professional studies is, but we also have a couple buttons for upcoming workshops that we'll continually update, especially with spring 2024. We're already planning, baby. We have all the topics. And our degrees for sure. We also have on there just who we are. We are so new that we want people to know what we do and that we're here for Tulsans. We both talked about earlier how much we love Tulsa, and we do see the growth in this area and the potential. And so we definitely just want to partner with as many businesses and companies that we can and just grow that relationship with them.
Yeah. Yes. And I will just add to what Katie said that when you're interested in doing something with us, contact Katie or myself. We're here to help everybody. Yeah. And we're just here to help you navigate and help. You don't have to have everything figured out. Let us help you figure it out. Education is important, and we really appreciate what you are doing as well. So important, and the more voices we have out there for education and how people can access it, the better.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I can attest, you both are a dynamic duo of accessibility and talking about, things that matter and helping people connect to resources. So absolutely want to commend you both for the work that you're doing and want to continue supporting that. So thank you both for being here. I really, really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Grow With Us. Grow With Us is supported by In-Tulsa Initiatives. If you are interested in learning more about In-Tulsa services for job placement and workforce development, please visit talent.intulsa.com. From there, you can join our talent network where you will get access to our newsletter, and our talent team will make sure you put the right opportunities on your radar. We put the choice to pursue a new career and opportunities in your hands. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify to be notified when more episodes of Grow With Us are released. Let us know what you think about how we're doing by rating and reviewing. It really helps. Grow With Us is edited and engineered by Rant9 Productions and Jesse Ulrich. This has been Grow With Us.